Today we're going to tie one of my favorite Louisiana patterns for redfish. This is kind of my go-to bull redfish fly, like a big kind of a larger pattern. I mean, there's people throwing 5-6 inch flies down there, big bushy heads that push a lot of water. So you want something that's going to catch that fish's attention. A lot of times the water's pretty murky.
Little guy. I'll take him. Sure he did.
Oh! So you gotta have something that shows up, and honestly the key down there is to make it be seen. Doesn't necessarily need to be particular colors and beautiful little patterns, but it's gotta just be seen, and it'll normally get eaten. For whatever reason, these June bug colors, the black, the purple, and the chartreuse is kind of my go-to for redfish. You can see it very well in dirty water, and it's got a great little pattern, great little profile to it there. So today we're gonna tie this up, show you guys how to tie one up real quick. Super simple fly. Keep it simple with the tail and the brush, and it'll get it done. So we'll start today with doing kind of a variant of a deceiver pattern with a big bushy head. Like I said, if it's got a tail that moves and waggles a little bit, big bushy head that pushes water, you're gonna be okay. So I like to tie this normally with chartreuse, purple, black colors. So we'll get going on this one here. Again, just kind of starting a little thread base. Tying with black. I like thick ass yarn that I tie with here because I don't like when it breaks. It's a pet peeve of mine. So if it gets the job done, it works. You can put a eye on first, but kind of your choice of when you want to do it. So I like to start with the tail. And we're gonna be using these guys today, kind of that black barred neck hackle pattern. Got the little black stripes barred down, and then chartreuse. I love a chartreuse tail, so that's kind of what I go with. The name of this game does not have to be perfect, it just needs to get the job done. So trim these feathers up a little bit. I like to go two to a side. You can splay them out like that, so it kind of has that back pattern, or you can put them together. Honestly, it's not gonna matter because they're gonna get tangled up and that tail's gonna be moving regardless. So for the camera pleasure here, we're just gonna go ahead and tie them against each other so they stack up nicer. Again, don't have to be pretty, just get them on there, get them started. You can go 2 or 3 to a side. You're gonna have that little bushy stuff on the end. Kind of just rip that off a little bit. You can cut them too, but stack up a couple of them. Try to get 2 that match kind of the same length and size. It's really the only key with these. Don't have to be perfect. Like I said, I like to go on this up against each other instead of splaying them out. On like a big popper pattern, where you kind of want like a frog leg type of look, you can splay them out, but I honestly just throw them together. So get those guys going right off the back of the hook, and I kind of tie right to that hook point there. You can see it, line it up, but yeah, simple chartreuse tail. You know, gonna be about 4 inches long when it's all said and done, probably closer to 5. So. Got your tail on, and now we're gonna move into the transition into the actual body of the fly. So there's 100 different ways to do this. I like to go with a little marabou just because the movement in the water with this stuff is awesome, as you probably know from throwing a lot of different flies with marabou. But just grab you a little chunk of this stuff, and you know, some people will use deer hair, bucktail, whatever, but this seems to be the best way for me to do it. And I'm running low on marabou, so I probably need to get some more. Use your shitty scissors preferably on this kind of stuff. Get a little wad, get it started. I can do a couple light wraps and then kind of mash it down on the top here around the hook, so it'll make it roll around the actual shank of the hook there. Kind of get that 180 degree. So you can get the 360, go for it, but normally I'll just start with that, do the same thing on the underside of the fly. And again, you're kind of just forming the initial transition into the body here. Clean that up a little. Pinch a marabou. Bottom side, same thing, 2 light wraps, kind of mash it around. So now you've got full coverage. Same way it would with any type of a brush. But you're transitioning that chartreuse into the purple here. Now, I like to throw in a little flash. Again, makes the fly pretty, not really necessary, but why not, right? So we're gonna go ahead and locate some flash. which is a key to keeping good organization in your fly tying bench, which I've done a terrible job of. So at some point, we're gonna find the flash. There's no flash, Ben. Found the flash. Found the flash. All right. The chartreuse looks pretty good. The black looks pretty good. It doesn't really matter. We're gonna go chartreuse today. I'm gonna go 3 strands per side. Just pick out 3 of the same length. Get them cut. Keep it simple. Tie them in down one side of the fly. That's all gonna get covered up in a second, so it doesn't matter as long as it's on there. Same thing on the other side, another 3 strands. It's all about symmetry. If you don't have symmetry, the fly's not gonna work. That's not true. Just get it on there. All right, now we got flash down both sides. Clean it up a little bit. This is the point where I like to go ahead and throw in the eyes. Again, it's gonna be situational dependent. This is gonna be for bigger bull redfish, so we want this fly to get down super quick. This fish is gonna pop up a lot of times right in front of the boat when you're not prepared, so the key is getting a fly down to the fish's face as soon as possible. So medium to medium heavy eyes is what I like to go with. Especially when you put the brush on the front, that can tend to grab a lot of water and make it sink a little bit slower, so you're gonna want that little bit heavier set of eyes. No tricks here. A couple figure eights, come around a few times, give it a little structure. We'll be good to go. All right, eyes are on. Now we're gonna tie on some of the brush. This is the 2.5 inch Andronis EP fibers, which I love this stuff. Makes tying a heck of a lot easier instead of trying to do your own little dubbing situation, which, hey, some people do and looks great. Simplicity is the key here for me. So you'll get this started right there on that transition point, right before that purple goes. Bring your thread kind of up to the edge of the eyes there, and you're just gonna start wrapping. Very simple, just dubbing around. Try to keep, if you got your fancy little set of pliers that keeps it straight, that's fine. I like to go with my fingers, works just fine. Keep pulling this around. You're gonna do maybe 7 or 8 wraps on this, depending on where you started the tails of the hook or the tails of the fly itself. But again, we're just making a big profile here, some type of a bait fish pattern, big bushy head, and that's about all you need. All right, now we got these wraps in. Gonna bring your thread up a little bit closer. Try to just pinch some of this material. Gives you a little opening to wrap around and lock that in. Take your shitty scissors, cut that off. Bring all the material back. Lash that one down. And then kind of comb it out here, just give yourself an idea of what you're working with, but you can start to see it coming together here. Profile we're working with. And then one last step I like to do, not really necessary, but kind of gives the fly a cool look and gives it a little bit more of a buggy pattern up front. Some of this 1 inch brush with the legs on it. I honestly forgot the name of it, but adds a cool little effect to the front and gives it just a nice finished look to the head. So you're gonna tie that right in front of the 2.5 inch brush. Same story here. Just keep pulling the fibers back. You got those little purple micro legs that are in this, which makes it pretty cool. But really just 2 or 3, 4 wraps until you get snug right up to the back of those dumbbell eyes. And then same story. Yep. A couple wraps. Keep it snug there. And we're gonna clip that guy off. Kind of pull back all your material again. And you're gonna lock everything in behind the fly. You can go in front of the eyes. Again, personal preference, just a little cleaner look for the fly. Unless you get a nice finish on the front. I like to throw a little bit, build up a little bit of a head here on the front of the eyeballs. And then, as simple as that, just a quick whip finish. Whip finishing tool, because I'm not as fancy as some of you guys that can do it with your hands. That sounded weird. I'm gonna keep going here. And get that guy finished. And then we get the Loon Outdoors UV Clear Fly Finish, the Flow. Love the flow. This stuff gets into the fibers really well, seats in there, gives it a nice polished finished look. I like to use this on pretty much all my flies, but this is gonna lock in all the material and ensure it's not gonna fall apart on at least the first fish. Running low on this stuff though. Gotta re-up. Hit it with the UV light. And that is pretty much it. Grab your little tool here, pick out some of those fibers just to get a good symmetrical look. And that is pretty much what you're left with. Big profile bait fish pattern, bushy head. Clean it up a tad for the camera. That's about the name of the game right there. That'll get it done every time in Louisiana. You can go bigger than that, you can go smaller than that, but that's kind of an average. You'll have slot fish eat this, you'll have giant fish eat this, but that dark transition from black to purple into the chartreuse just gets it done. And that's it.